那些玩够了的女孩，最后都找到老实人结婚了吗？
Have these girls who used to hang out in nightclubs eventually found honest men to marry? The result is almost none. This group is indeed huge, and although I can't investigate every individual case, I know from most situations that they end up having to choose older, inferior men to make do with life. Some still live a man providing financially, woman providing companionship and services kind of life, where the relationship between them isn't romantic at all. It's more about survival and getting by. They are just dependent on each other in different ways. So where did these nightclub girls end up? From what I know, many of them chose to start their own businesses or run small enterprises, but most of them didn't succeed. For example, some opened nail salons in Qingdao, some opened beauty salons in Dalian, some opened hot pot restaurants in Harbin, and even some became live streamers in Hangzhou. Unfortunately, 9 out of 10 of these girls lost money disastrously. After losing everything, they had no choice but to return to the nightclubs and continue working in places like bathhouses. Why do these former nightclub girls fail in business? The reason is simple. These girls initially entered the nightclub business because they were lazy, and they couldn't work hard when running small businesses. Opening a nail salon seems simple, but they all need to hire employees. Once a restaurant gets busy, they won't even do simple tasks like serving dishes. As a result, the business is unlikely to be profitable. The live streaming industry is even less suited to them. This industry is not only highly competitive, but also requires a lot of energy and time. Many nightclub girls even refuse to try. They have prejudices against becoming live streamers, thinking that this job is even lower than their previous work in the nightclub, and they believe that live streamers can't make money. They look down on such work. For those nightclub girls who truly want to get out of the business, as they grow older, their skin starts to sag, and the wrinkles on their faces become more noticeable. No amount of makeup can cover these signs of aging. Even if they once tried to change their fate because of their past lifestyle and limited social circle, they ultimately have no choice but to marry someone from a similar background, someone who can accept their past and their messy lives. They will never meet a truly honest, good man. So what is an honest man? Honest men typically have a few obvious characteristics. They don't like to show off, avoid noisy places, live simply and modestly, often have their own hobbies, work steadily, are loyal in love, have a gentle character, and don't like to play tricks. Although the personality type of these men may seem dull to some, they are often more attractive to women who want a stable life. If such a man also has a stable income, like a programmer, an engineer, or someone in the internet industry, these honest men become ideal choices for many women. The women who used to work in nightclubs would also target this type of man, trying to find a stable life. However, it's not so easy to find such an honest man. Nightclub girls often find it hard to fit into the social circles of honest men due to their previous lifestyle habits. To the girls who have had enough of the nightclub life, don't believe this saying. After playing enough in the nightclub, just marry an honest man. You won't find one and you won't be able to do it.
为什么娱乐场所的那些女孩子啊，她们金盆洗手了之后
These girls who once worked in entertainment venues often face a difficult transition period once they leave the nightlife environment, and their lives consequently become less satisfying. The reason is actually very simple. Once they leave the nightclubs, their income drops significantly, and it becomes very difficult for them to adjust to a new lifestyle. In other words, the real challenge is that once they leave the high-paying entertainment venues, they find it hard to adapt to a downward lifestyle. Working in bars and other entertainment venues, the most difficult part is not staying up late or drinking, but rather that once these girls develop certain bad habits, it becomes very hard for them to readjust to a normal work and life rhythm. While working in nightclubs, they are often in a relaxed state, buying whatever they want without any savings awareness or habits. When they run out of money, they can just go back to work for a few more days. Once they earn money, they spend it on things they enjoy, such as buying a flight ticket, traveling, or taking beautiful photos. This cycle of indulgence makes it easy for them to fall into the illusion of "I can always earn more money," without realizing that they have already lost their sense of future planning and self-discipline. Thus, time quietly slips away under their noses, and they spend several years living a carefree life that is not substantial, yet easygoing. Some girls who work in nightclubs, especially after they turn 30, suddenly realize that this lifestyle can no longer continue. They begin to feel anxious, realizing they are no longer young, and their bodies are not as energetic as before. As a result, they urgently want to find a stable and respectable job to ensure better living conditions. However, reality confuses them. They may struggle to even land an ordinary job, and when it comes to income, they can barely earn a few thousand yuan. After deducting transportation, food, and rent, there is almost nothing left, making it impossible to even support themselves. What's worse is that when they try to find a higher-paying job, they realize they have no skills or qualifications. Even if they want to learn new skills, they often lack the patience, cannot endure hardships, and are unwilling to go through the difficult learning process. They are already accustomed to quick ways of making money, and these methods are often incompatible with traditional office jobs. Therefore, for these girls who once worked in the nightlife industry, they often hope to find a wealthy boyfriend or a long-term financial supporter. However, the reality is that very few men are willing to accept women who have worked in nightclubs. If these girls from nightclubs fail to find such a man, they may have no choice but to return to the nightlife industry and start their old business all over again.
这个夜场待过的女孩子能不能娶回家做老婆？
A lot of people are discussing a question. Can a girl who used to work in a nightclub be married and brought home as a wife? Today, I want to share an example that happened around me. 3 years ago, I had a friend who, despite his family's objections, married a girl who had worked in a nightclub for 2 years. As a result, less than a year after their marriage, they chose to divorce. You can probably tell that in situations like this, out of every 10 marriages, 8 or 9 end in divorce, and the remaining 2 are either because the couple's personalities don't match, or they simply settle for each other. So why does this happen? Let me tell you, the root of the problem lies in these nightclub girls. Every day, they interact with all kinds of men, leading a life that is disproportionate to their identity and age. They have gotten used to the pleasure of getting things without effort. Over time, their values become distorted, and their expectations for men grow higher. While it's possible that some nightclub girls are able to stay true to themselves and resist the influence of their environment, such cases are extremely rare. We can almost say that they are like a needle in a haystack. We shouldn't gamble by treating these rare exceptions as the norm. I sincerely advise all girls, if you have any choice, never work in a nightclub. Because this is not simply an issue of character, it is more about the environment. The influence of the environment on a person is huge, and the infiltration of the people and things around us is very strong. Even if you are a good person at heart, if you are surrounded by negative energy, it will be difficult for your kindness and efforts to survive in such an environment. As the old saying goes, those who frequently walk by the river will inevitably get their shoes wet. If you live in an unhealthy environment, it is hard to avoid being corrupted by these negative influences. I want to tell the girls working in nightclubs, you must cherish your own reputation. It is easy for a person to be influenced by their surroundings, especially when you've gotten used to a lifestyle of enjoyment and ease, where you don't have to put in effort to receive rewards. You will increasingly be unwilling to accept a life that requires hard work, and you will also find it difficult to face the trivialities and challenges in marriage. When you grow older, and your youthful advantages are no longer there, what will you rely on then? At that point, your life might fall into a difficult situation, and your entire life could be ruined. Finally, I urge the girls still working in nightclubs, don't expect that just because you are young, you'll be able to find a good man willing to marry you after you've had your fun in the nightclub. That's like trying to catch the moon in the water, a dream that is impossible to achieve.
总有一些女人很自傲。
Some beautiful women who often go to nightclubs tend to be self-righteous. They may be surrounded by men who are not so great, yet they still consider themselves superior, looking down on others with an arrogant attitude. They think of themselves as the center of attention and believe they are more valuable than other women. However, women, you must understand that what is held in the palm of the hand is a flower, while something always surrounded by a swarm of flies is something found in a toilet. Don't think that just because you have a few suitors you can casually play with emotions. If you treat yourself poorly, in the end, you'll be left calling out to find true love. But you will find that no good man will want to accept you. You are already an adult, and you must take responsibility for your actions. No matter how much fun you had when you were young, playing in places like nightclubs, you must ultimately bear the consequences yourself. When you regret, don't complain. Since you chose to drink from a place filled with dirty water, don't complain that the water is filthy and stinks. Women must learn to keep themselves pure and maintain a proper sense of reserve. Don't casually agree to go out just because a few men ask you. The more you hang out in entertainment venues, the less it means you're impressive. It only shows that you don't know how to value yourself, and that you're frivolous with emotions and lack self-control.
娱乐场所的女人，她会踏踏实实的跟你过日子吗？
In the minds of many men, there is often a fantasy about women working in nightclubs. They believe that these women might change their lifestyle for love and start living an ordinary life. However, the reality is often cruel. Do you really believe that they will give up their current life and income to live a life of poverty and hardship with you? Do you think that, as a woman working in a nightclub, she is sincere with you, willing to change her life and live a peaceful, stable life for you? In fact, all of this is just your wishful thinking. Have you ever considered that when she decided to enter this industry, wasn't it her own choice? No one forced her onto this path. She chose this lifestyle herself. You don't have to hold too many fantasies about her, thinking that love can change her future. You might think your relationship is genuine, and the sweet times and promises you shared make you believe she will change. But I tell you, all of this is just a beautiful future that you imagined. The reality is, she is already used to earning thousands of yuan every night. How could she be willing to live the simple life that you can provide? This is where your love blinds you to the truth. She is not the pure, flawless person you think she is. You selectively believe that she can still change, thinking she was once a pure girl who was forced into this job by life. But all of this is just your faith in her. In fact, her essence had already determined her choice long before. Regardless of what she went through in the past, she is still the one who chose this path. Why did she choose this road? It's simple. It's driven by dissatisfaction with life and a desire to fulfill her own wants. In other words, these issues are very difficult to change. If you think she will completely transform because of your true love, you are terribly wrong. She will not give up the wealth and easy income she once had just for you. Even she cannot change herself. I've encountered many similar cases. Those women who have been married 3 times often rely on their youth and beauty to make a living in these places, actually looking for a big fool man who can accept them. If you don't believe me, try it yourself. If you truly give your heart to her, raising her child and helping her pay the mortgage, car loan, or rent, what will you get in the end? Honestly, the result could be you ending up empty-handed, heartbroken, and even losing your dignity. 'Cause such a woman will immediately abandon you once she meets a man who is more capable and has a higher social status. She won't look back even for a second. If you don't believe it, try it yourself. Really, listen to my advice. Cut your losses. Don't lose yourself in this relationship. Turn around quickly.
夜场的女孩子最怕什么呢？
Today I saw a news story about a man who spent over a year and invested more than 1 million yuan trying to pull a girl working in a nightclub out of that environment. Around the 300th day, he realized that the girl was still in contact with her former clients. He felt that he had been so good to her, so why couldn't she resist? Let me tell you, friends, a man and a woman often get together because their conditions just happen to match. However, once one party becomes more successful and the other remains stagnant, the one who becomes more successful usually chooses to break up. This is a common situation. When many men date nightclub girls, their first reaction is to want to pull her out of the nightlife. I'll tell you, this is actually a fatal mistake. Why? Because the nightclub girls are most afraid of thinking. They don't want to make money using their brains. They only want to make money with their bodies. It is precisely because she isn't smart that she works in a nightclub. If she were both smart and beautiful, she would have already been taken away by rich and handsome men, and it wouldn't be your turn. So, when you interact with a nightclub girl, you shouldn't just focus on helping her get out of the nightclub business because her sense of security comes from her comfort zone. She doesn't want to change. The day you help her leave the nightclub is the day she will abandon you. Because she is just beautiful, but she doesn't have brains. That's why you had that connection with her in the nightclub in the first place. When you help her leave the nightclub, you're actually helping her become smarter. And once she becomes smarter, your relationship with her ends. So, friends, do you understand? The nightclub girls are most afraid of the sense of security you give them. So don't easily try to break her comfort zone, because once you do, her relationship with you will end as well.
Yesterday, I saw an on-site interview from a matchmaking event online. A very outstanding guy, who looked quite handsome, was introduced to a very beautiful girl by the matchmaker. I fully expected that they would become a couple smoothly, but to my surprise, he directly rejected her. This guy should, by all accounts, be a very popular type in the matchmaking market. After all, he was born in 1993, owns his own house, has a stable annual income of around 300,000 yuan, and is good-looking. From these conditions, he is almost the ideal partner in the minds of many women. So the question is, why did such an exceptional guy reject such a beautiful and ideal type of girl, whose looks should definitely be rated above 90 points? This guy admitted that the girl was indeed very beautiful, but what he was looking for was a marriage partner, not a girl who worked in a nightclub. At that moment, I realized that the guy was rejecting the girl's job. At first, I didn't quite understand it and thought it might be a kind of prejudice. But after hearing his reasons, I began to understand him a little. He frankly said that although the girl was beautiful, the environment and circle she was in were surrounded by wealthy men or second-generation rich kids. These people spent money like water, driving luxury cars such as Porsche and Mercedes-Benz, and lived an extravagant lifestyle. In such an environment, the girl had gotten used to enjoying material things and living freely, and she would almost certainly find it difficult to adjust to the lifestyle and economic conditions of ordinary people. More importantly, the working environment in nightclubs exposed these girls to many different men, and they might even have intimate interactions with multiple strangers every day. This guy didn't want to bear that extra pressure and trouble, especially since he came from an ordinary family and valued a simple, genuine life even more. He also mentioned that when he was younger and less mature, he used to focus solely on a girl's appearance. He had once dated a very beautiful girl, and the most infuriating thing happened later. After they broke up, he learned from his friends that she had betrayed him more than once. He helplessly said, "I'm just an ordinary person, spending most of my parents' lifetime savings as bride price. In the end, if I marry a girl who works in a nightclub, what am I doing this for?" Finally, he stated that he just hoped to find a girl who had an ordinary appearance and was suitable for everyday life. After reading this, I thought, if it were me, I would probably make the same choice. What do you think of this guy's thinking? Feel free to share your opinion in the comment section. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. Your support is very important to us, and we will continue to provide better shows for you. Thank you again for watching, and see you next time.